Hi, this is Bharti, and welcome to today's episode of Newsroom. And today we have with us Bill Smith, your principal developer at Linode. First of all, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. Linode is making some announcements regarding object storage.
We are.
Perfect. Before we get into what you're going to announce, let's talk about object storage or the type of storage that are there, file-based, block, and object. What is the basic difference between these three?
Well, file-based storage is local to your virtual machine. So you can't transfer it between machines without like lengthy copies over the internet. Block storage is not local to your machine. So you can trade it from one machine to another easily. But object storage is file storage online. So you don't need a virtual machine involved at all. You can access the files from anywhere.
Traditionally, which one is more popular, or it really depends on the workload or use case?
It depends on the workload for sure, but object storage is very flexible and adapts to a wide variety of workloads. It can be used from anything from hosting static content for websites to ingesting and processing big data to a backend for a bunch of existing tools that already use it for storage.
Can you talk about what kind of open source projects are? Because these days everything is becoming software defined and everything is powered by one or the other open source projects. So which one are Linode using for object storage?
Our object storage is based on Ceph, which is a mature, massively scalable, reliable, and replicated storage service. It's the same thing that's backing our block storage product.
Why did you choose to offer object storage? What was the need? What was the feedback? What was the demand that you see from your user base or customer base?
Well, object storage has become massively popular over the past few years because it allows you to make applications that are stateless and can still have persistent storage. And it makes it a lot easier to do serverless coding because you have some place to put data, but you don't need a server to attach to it. It also helps with things like microservice-based architectures in Kubernetes, where you can use it as a data store without having to worry about your containers going away and coming back. And it's a great place to host static content. So if you're hosting a blog or big website, you can just throw all your images in there and reference them.
So what was the need of bringing object storage there? Do you see any demand from customers who want this, or why? That's my curiosity is looking at the traditional user base of Linode, or maybe your user base is expanding beyond what I interpret. So talk about that a bit.
Well, our user base is certainly expanding, and we've had a lot of requests for object storage for a while. But what was really eye-opening was the number of in-house applications that came up as soon as we started offering it. Internal teams started using it to make applications stateless so they were easier to deploy and easier to develop. They started using it to communicate between microservices so that we didn't have to store data in a database or some shared server they could access. And it's really enabled us to do a lot of things for our own applications. And we expect customers to have very much the same benefit.
So is it part like how can somebody get object storage with Linode? Is it an add-on feature on top of Linode that somebody can purchase, or it's a totally independent service?
It's a totally independent service. You can absolutely use it with your Linodes, but you don't have to. If you wanted to host a static website on our object storage, you could just go into the manager, make a bucket, upload your website, enable static sites, and it would be there.
What if somebody is using any other cloud platform, but they want your object storage? Or is it like everything has to run on Linode?
No, it absolutely works cross-cloud. You can access object storage from anywhere. So it could be on a Linode or on another cloud provider's instance or on your laptop.
That's awesome, because it's more or less like the multi-cloud kind of, where you can run some instances that runs better there, but you can host your object storage on Linode.
Absolutely.
Yeah, or you can mix and match with hybrid cloud, where something may be running on your on-prem and something running on Linode. Why would somebody go with Linode's object storage? Because Ceph is one of the most popular platform out there when it comes to storage. What USP do you bring to the market or users? Why should they care about your offering?
Well, Linode's object storage is fully integrated into our platform, so you can manage it as a first-party citizen in all of our tools. But it's also extremely flexible. So if you wanted to use it with other providers or without using the rest of our suite, that's totally possible.
Who are you targeting with this offering?
Object storage is applicable to pretty much anyone who is using the cloud and has data. So if you're hosting static content or an entire static website, you can use object storage. If you need to share data between different services, object storage is a great place. If you need to ingest large amounts of data to process later, object storage is a great way to do that. If you need stateless applications with persistent data, object storage is the ideal backend. If you need to plug in storage to a third-party tool, most of them support S3 out of the box. So if you're using any kind of storage in the cloud, object storage is for you.
If you look at our, I don't know if you can see it, there's VR, I have 3 VR platforms behind me, and they're consuming a lot of data. I'm generating a lot of data every day. So the amount of data people are creating and everything is going to cloud is growing. So I'm just asking you a question from the perspective of storage. What challenges did you see in the next, I cannot even talk about 10 years, is so far, in the next 1 or 2 years when it comes to storage, and what is industry or a company like Linode doing to address that, the exponential growth of data?
Well, storage is definitely in high demand, and scaling is the biggest technical challenge that we're going to face. So we have spent a lot of time looking into ways to effectively scale our object storage offering. Of course, Ceph advertises being infinitely scalable, which is a big plus, but your mileage may vary.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the data landscape, I don't even want to think about the situation that will be there 10 years from now, when everybody will have a phone with petabytes of data on their devices. So we'll see how this landscape grows. But Will, thanks once again to not only talk about the difference between these different kind of storage solutions, but also why object makes more sense in today's world. And I look forward to talking to you again in future. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me.